chopping the cab, cutting it, narrowing it, and then chopping the top and getting it mocked up to where we could slide it together and actually finally look at it and go, okay, this is what we have,
Which is complex because it's a art piece as well as all the work you had to do. So it's not like you're just taking a truck and you're redoing it. It seemed like that'd be easier than having to kind of cut, chop, put everything to where when you're looking at it, it's his truck coming at you.
Put it into perspective it's I would say probably the hardest part was just getting that cab to look right and getting it to because looking at the front of it just changed the whole scale of it, and so basically we had to modify our own air cleaners and make it so that way when you're looking at it, it looked right. And
I was shocked by that because I'm like, you put air cleaners on this thing, but the way that it looks, they don't look like they're the big size when you're next to it, but when you're looking at it from straight on, you would swear everything is completely proportioned. Everything is set exactly where it needs to be. How did you guys do the air cleaners? Did you?
Well, so I held up a full-size air cleaner and held it up there, and my son looked at it and he's like, no, he's like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so we just had a few things laying around the shop that were round and I had a piece of 30-34 that I wasn't using, and I held it up there, and he looked at it and he's like, yeah, that's the right size. And
wow.
So basically we just took some stainless and modified some air cleaners and made it look right. So
yeah, it looks fabulous.
All right, so this was my cousin's truck, and this was the last one he had, and right before his life got tragically ended, he had this truck here, and that was his pride and joy, and he really enjoyed having that truck. And so anyhow, I've built this replica to hang on his brother's wall, and it'll be for his brother, my cousin Devin. And one thing about it, we'll never forget him, because we'll have this. He'll never be forgotten. So that's why we're doing this. So anyway, that's his truck. Okay, I got this piece of plexiglass out of the back of that old cab, and the guy had it in there for a back window. It used to have a sleeper, so he put this in here. So I'm going to use it for the front windshield. I cut one already just to see how it would go, but I got it cut, put it in there. It looks pretty good. So I'll get this one cut and pop it in there. I'm just using that jigsaw right there. It works pretty good. So since we shortened this cab and narrowed it, so I had to cut these rubbers right there. I had to cut those and shorten them down and make everything fit right. So I get this template here. I made that template to be able to trace these out. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, I got that one in. Might be a little bit of rodeo getting this one in, but we'll see. All right, a 1. No cuss words. Didn't even have to cuss about it. I got these headlight buckets torn apart, but most everything was kind of rotted, and so these springs, all this stuff's kind of messed up, so I had to get creative. On how I can hold these in here. So what I ended up doing is I cut some of these, and I'll drill a hole in the backside of that, and then that'll go in there and I'll bolt it, and then that'll hold that in there just perfect. because it doesn't have to do anything. It just, you know, basically going to sit on the wall. So I'm just going to hold it in there. So I'll get this thing drilled out and put together.
The white pieces I'm using to hold those buckets in is like a plastic. It's a little thicker than like 1/8 inch. So they work perfectly because they were pretty flexible and they kind of acted like a spring. When I tightened them up, it kind of centered those buckets and held them in place right where they needed to be.
Put it in there like that. Put a nut and a washer on the backside. That holds that in there, and it can still move around a little bit, so it's even adjustable if you want it to be. Like I said, all it's got to do is just got to hold the headlight in there. Everything you get on the coast is completely just rotted out, it seems like, so you gotta make do with what you have. Sometimes you got to get a little creative. All it has to do is hold the headlights. Well, that's that. We can pop the headlights in. So these headlights were actually my cousin Derek's headlights. After his life was tragically taken, his brother Devin ended up with a bunch of stuff, you know, all of his truck stuff. And he told me, he said, hey, since you have trucks, he says, why don't you take that and you can probably use it. I don't have any trucks with square headlights, so I figured what a tribute. This was Derek's. He bought it. He was gonna put it in his truck, and he didn't do it. So I know these are very expensive headlights, but the thing is, they were Derek's, and he wanted to put them in his truck. So I'm gonna put them in this truck, and that way it can hang on the wall. And I'll actually wire these up to where he can turn them on, so they'll all come on. But anyway, I just figured that would be kind of cool. And you know, they weren't my headlights to begin with, and I'd much rather see them hanging on the wall in his truck for him. So that's what we're gonna do. I almost feel like this ring is too small to fit these. It's not. It's not letting me. So it looks like these are a little bit thicker compared to those. So if you put that there, you can see. So might have to get some longer screws. Get some longer screws to be able to reach in here. Everything sits in there like it should. It's just these don't reach far enough. On there. Miracle. Found 4. All right, so I was able to dig around and I found some longer screws. So that'll hold that in there good. Since that headlight's a little bit thicker, I just needed longer screws to reach all that. Always something. Let's see if I can find some more screws. There we go. I don't know if that's how Hank would have done it, but that's how we're doing it. Looks good. Hey, good morning, folks. So we're finally at the stage where we can start putting everything back together. This piece was missing off of this hood, so I ordered that, got that on there, and then we didn't have any grill bars except for that center one in this hood. So I got these extra grill bars, and I've got a few more here I gotta get put on, but they've got a little screw attachment in the back side of them, one at the top and one at the bottom. But anyway, they go on there and you put them on, and then you put a screw from the back side. So once I get all these attached, this hood will be pretty much done, other than just wiring. I got a couple plugs I'm gonna put on the headlights and run wires down. And then we've got a 12-volt battery pack for he'll be able to slide his battery in there and then power up the headlights and everything. So, but yeah, I'll start getting this cab fixed up. I've got all the marker lights. Get all the marker lights put on and start putting the mirrors on. And I got to get these. I got more glass like this I'm going to put in the side windows here. So anyhow, that's our project here. We're trying to get this thing wrapped up. So I got the air cleaners. We'll get the air cleaners all taken care of. We'll start working on those. Get those mounted. Get the mirrors mounted. Marker lights mounted. And put the visor on. And it's gonna be looking pretty good after I get all that done. So I'm getting pretty excited. We're getting close to taking it over there, and he can hang it on his wall. It'll look pretty cool, I think. Everything will be lit up and all shined up, and yeah, I think that hood, all in all, considering what that hood was, I think it turned out pretty good. Color pretty much matches what my cousin's truck was. So, yeah. Those stripes and everything turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. Got the dark blue. I first painted everything this dark blue, and then I put the tape on there on this line, and then after that painted this lighter blue, and then papered everything off and painted the silver over. It turned out good. Like I said, I got those headlights. Those were his headlights he was gonna put in his truck. So what better place to go ahead and put them in here, and then that way they'll be there and he can turn them on, and yeah. So all right, well, we'll plug away here. All right, we got some new cab lights, and my cousin, he just had the cab lights on his cab, so he took the air horns off. So we won't put the air horns back on, and this will be identical to what he had. So he had the round lights, and then he had the drop visor. We'll get the drop visor put on, and we're working on getting these mirror brackets shortened, because when we chopped the cab, we cut 4 inches out of the cab, so we'll have to do the same thing. So he's working on this right now, and my son, so he's getting this all taken care of, and we'll get these brackets put back on, and yeah, it should be good. I'll get these drilled in and attached.
What are you doing here?
Cutting some pieces for making the air cleaners. Since I narrowed the cab and shortened the cab, the big full-size air cleaners, they don't look proportioned to what we're building here. So I'm gonna take these, this will go on the bottom and this will go on the top. I'm gonna wrap it with stainless steel, a thin stainless steel, and I'll pin it to here and make my own stainless air cleaners, so that way it looks, you know, by the time I get it here and then I put a row of lights in front of it, it'll look pretty cool. So I think that'll be about the right size. So I'm just using this as a form to wrap the stainless around, and then I'll pin it to there.
Nice.
And that way it's pretty lightweight. It's not too heavy. I had this old pipe I was using for a sump. I drilled a bunch of holes in it and I stuck a pump down in there, and I was using it for a sump. So now I'll have to get me another one, but that's okay. I don't need a sump right now.
What are you doing?
Trying to make an air cleaner. Making a homemade air cleaner. Okay, so we got the grill bars, got all the grill bars on, so we got 7 of them across there. Got this piece replaced, and we got the headlights installed. So all I gotta do is just run some wiring over there and get those where I can hook them up. But Other than that, this hood's pretty well finished up. So we'll be ready to, we're getting ready for the final trip over there. We're gonna head over Friday, so just got a few things here to wrap up, and we're gonna load it up and get it ready to ship. So we got the front bumper done, so that'll be pretty good. What we did to keep the weight down, my son built this plywood, put these little gussets all the way down, and then we had this stainless we bought, had him bend the stainless, so that way it's not so heavy, and it'll look good, and it'll be a lot cheaper than, you know, buying a regular bumper. And like I said, the weight of it hanging on there. But excuse the shop, it's kind of a mess. But the cab, we've got the air cleaners done, got the lights mounted, cab lights on it. Just a couple more things left to do, but anyhow, got those lights down there. We got to finish up the mirror brackets, so that's kind of the last thing to do, get the mirror brackets finished up and then put the visor back on. And that should wrap it up. We got a little bit of wiring to do in here. Got that little junction box, and we've got all the wiring for the lights. And my cousin didn't have a horn up on his top of his cab, so we installed this horn in here. And I got the hose where it can run down, and then this was this little hose here was part of the stuff that my cousin had given me from Derek, and so I'm assuming he was going to put this in his truck. But anyhow, it'll drop down and go along the wall, and then he's got the air valve here where he can honk the horn. So put air to that, and he can honk that. Just hook that, he can hook that into his compressor, and anyhow, he'll be able to honk the horn. All the lights function, and so yeah, everything. I'm really pleased with those air cleaners. Very thankful for, we have a local sheet metal company here called White's Heating, and they really came through for me, and they built these tops for me, and I bought all the stainless and the bands and everything from them, and so they cut everything for me, and really helped this project come alive. Because if I was to use full-size air cleaners on there, they'd have been way too big and not looked right. So I think that portion of them looks pretty good for the narrowed down cab and the chop top and everything. So, but yeah, so we'll get the rest of the mirror brackets, get the mirror bracket done, put the visor on it, and we'll get it loaded up on the trailer. So next time you see us, we'll be doing the reveal. So stay tuned and stay salty, my friends, and you'll be able to see this thing put together and lit up. Thanks a lot.